Hi everyone, welcome to another Sharewise webinar. Today I am joined by the Karma Co International on the ASX listed as CCO. I'm joined here today by the Managing Director and CEO, Dr. Anthony Noble. Thank you so much for joining me today, Anthony.
Thank you for having me, Caitlin.
So today, Anthony will take us through a presentation and then we'll go through some interview questions where everyone will have an opportunity to ask Anthony any questions. But with that being said, I'll hand it off to you, Anthony.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Our business is the Karma Co International Limited, or the Karma Co as we call it, code CCO. Obviously, the normal disclaimer applies for a presentation for investors. So the Karma Co is a company with a vision to be the most dominant kava company in the world. So our business is all around processing and selling products that give people that effect of being calmer, and the primary among those is noble Fijian kava. We execute on our vision by our mission, which is to produce the highest quality products. We should definitely have the highest quality products in the kava industry, and we do that both ethically and sustainably. And we encourage consumer acceptance of both the recreational and therapeutic effects of kava. So stress, anxiety, and sleep issues are the major therapeutic uses for kava. And these are major problems in the Western world, and particularly for younger people. So around about 3/4 of people have felt so stressed recently that they are unable to cope. About 60% of people who are stressed also report having anxiety or feeling anxious. In fact, anxiety disorders are the #1 psychiatric disorders affecting people in the Western world. And 3 times more young people feel like they can't manage their stress. So this is an issue which affects young people disproportionately, in that young people are less likely to receive a treatment for what they're doing. And ultimately, stress and anxiety feed into sleep disturbances. And we know that about 1/3 of people who are tired because they've been awake, lying awake at night. I think we all know exactly how that feels. So kava is a really unique product in that it's able to address all of those different parts of that cycle. So it enhances sleep, it's proven to reduce anxiety, and it's a great way to de-stress in a recreational sense. Primarily as a natural medicine, kava has a very strong evidence base. So there have been quite a number of clinical trials, and those clinical trials have shown the anxiolytic or anxiety-reducing effect of kava across a variety of doses. And in fact, a meta-analysis of those clinical trials shows a significant reduction in anxiety as measured by the Hamilton Anxiety Scale Rating, which is the clinically proven method for assessing anxiety. So for people with mild to moderate anxiety, or people suffering from high levels of stress in their everyday life, kava is a great natural medicine for them to turn to for relief from those issues. We've been focusing a lot also on the recreational benefits of drinking kava compared to alcohol. And this is the segment that's really been driving the large growth that we've seen in our sales. It's part of a bigger trend across society where we see a lot of people, around about 1/3 of people in Generation Z or under 30 years old, who do not consume alcohol as part of their everyday lifestyle. And this persists in the US, in Australia, in the UK. So it's not something that's specifically linked to the availability of other drugs. It's a mega trend that moves across different societies, irrespective of the availability of other drugs. It's about people wanting to live a healthier lifestyle of sustainability and health, and not drinking alcohol is a big part of that. And the indications are that the segment of society who are choosing not to drink is getting larger and larger. And you can see that in the statistic presented here, that from 2007 to 2019, the share of people in that pre-drinking age who were not having an alcohol lifestyle rose from about 39% to about 73%. So this segment of people who don't drink are driving a huge category, which is this low alcohol category. It's currently estimated to be around about an $11 billion category, growing at 7% year on year. Kava is a big part of that. Kava is a positive, functional drink that is a low, no alcohol alternative. So rather than the first generation of no alcohol drinks, which are really just imitations of alcoholic drinks like a de-alcoholized wine or alcohol-free beer, we think kava is really the beginning of a second generation of no low alcohol products that provide that relaxing effect, a physiological effect for the user, while also having the benefits of being non-alcoholic in terms of being very low in calories and having no hangover or negative consequences the following day. So we address these segments of the market through our brands. Our primary brand is Fiji Kava. So the main engine of growth in our company is our powdered drinking kavas, which you can see there on the left. We also offer a nutraceutical kava capsule, and we also are increasingly selling more and more merchandise around the kava drinking experience. And that's everything from apparel to coconut cups, which people enjoy kava in. And we've got some plans to offer some really interesting things like mixing devices and mini blenders for people to make kava easily on the go and at home. So all the things around drinking kava as part of your healthy lifestyle, in addition to the kava itself, are going to become more part of what we're offering to consumers moving ahead. Our oldest brand and the original brand in the company is Takimai, again, another kava brand. So it's the brand that we sell in the local Fijian market, as you can see on the right there, as a drinking kava in the traditional grind format or an instant kava. And we've just launched in Australia our new Takimai Kava shop, which is a cold pressed kava, nothing else, in a bottle, ready to drink, and that's currently on the shelves in Coles around Australia. It's a great way, our first entry into the ready to drink category, and a great way for people to try kava for the first time without having to go to the trouble of mixing it up. So moving on to the financial results of the company is in a very rapid growth phase, and the revenue acceleration that we've seen across the year has continued. So for the first half of the year, the company's revenues were about 1.45 million, which was about 90% up on the previous corresponding period. For the quarter three, the company's revenues were around about $1.07 million again, which is about 270% up. And we've now, in the May month, surpassed our Q3 revenues in total already, with sales in May of around $610,000, so an annualized sales rate of approximately $7 million. This is driven primarily by e-commerce, where our sales online have now surpassed $16,000 a day, which is a 500% increase since May of last year. The company is building inventory at an increased rate to deal with the growth that we're seeing, and we've managed to stay in stock throughout this period of growth, and we now are keeping pace with the sales that we're growing. We built a large amount of inventory in the previous quarter. We're continuing to do that. Investors will see a rights issue is on foot that's about upgrading our factory and continuing to drive that growth and expansion of inventory to support the growth in e-commerce that we're seeing. As of yesterday, our share price was 0.006. It's moved a little bit today, which we're very pleased to see. So market cap of about 9 million, maybe a little bit more than that now. So primarily the company is focused on two complementary sales channels that we're driving growth through. The first one, of course, is e-commerce. So $16,000 in a day across all global channels, 500% growth over the past 12 months. The first channel that we really entered into in e-commerce was our Amazon channel in the US. We're now tracking at around $4,000 in Amazon on May. We're still the #1 instant kava on Amazon. We recently added our products to Walmart.com. Walmart.com is a sales portal run by the Walmart company, who everyone knows, of course, and that feeds sales into our Shopify platform in the US. Our Shopify platform's been online for 3 months now. Sales are roughly doubling month on month. It's the same pattern that we saw at the beginning of the period in the Australian market. So we're very confident that the Shopify USA channel will continue to grow. And of course, as we advertise our Shopify USA products on the Meta and Instagram and Facebook channel in the US, it also has a synergistic effect with Amazon, remembering that consumers in America sometimes much prefer to shop on Amazon for reasons such as Amazon Prime and others. So Shopify USA does have a large amount of marketing going behind it now, and that marketing is going to drive not just Shopify sales, but also sales through the Amazon platform in the US. Shopify, however, as our home platform without any fees, is about 30% more profitable than Amazon. So we are focused on growing this channel moving forward and effectively trying to replicate what we've been doing in the Australian market, where we've proven this e-commerce model can work. Sales in Australia in the Shopify site are now well over $300,000 a month. The growth is continuing there very strongly, and we expect that we're going to be able to duplicate what we're doing in the US Shopify, what we've done here in Australia, in a country with a population of more than 10 times bigger than ours, in a country that allows us to formulate new products with flavors and taste profiles that are clearly superior than the regulations allow in Australia. So we're very confident over the next 12 months that we can do what we've done in Australia, in the US, with an order of magnitude larger sales. The key metrics around the e-commerce that we're seeing are extremely promising. Our return on advertising spend is consistently very high, between 3 and 4. Our cost of acquisition for consumers is flat and stable and very low, really at industry-leading levels for those two key factors in e-commerce business growth. The company is now starting to focus on activities that are around customer lifetime value. These are things like email promotions, loyalty programs, and the like. And these things are the way that we transition from that customer acquisition phase to building a sustainable long-term e-commerce business with high customer lifetime value. Retail plays a part in our strategy as well. Retail for us must be profitable. We turned the business around over the last 2 financial years, and a big part of that was walking away from unprofitable retail sales that we had here in Australia to replace them with profitable retail sales. Retail for us plays an important role in driving awareness of our products, building trust in our products, and giving consumers the chance to try them at a lower price point than they can when they come onto the website. Over the last 3 months, we've launched 3 products into Coles. Our 50 gram had been there for 2 years, and we launched 2 new products to complement that. Over the first 3 months, we've seen very strong monthly order volumes from Coles for both the Taki Mai Kava shots, which are in around 500 stores, the 150 gram instant, which is our most high value product and the engine that drives our e-commerce in Australia and on Amazon, as well as our 50 gram instant. It's important to note that the Taki Mai single shot and the 50 gram instant are only available in Coles. Online, only larger formats make sense for us to sell. So for people who maybe want to try for the first time or feel that they would like to try something from a retailer rather than making an order online, the Coles presence is really important to drive that awareness and to drive that trial. The other important retail channel for us is the tourist channel in Fiji. We've got 3 great partners in the tourist channel in Fiji, Jacks of Fiji primary among them, the Proud stores, as well as Tapu's. Those stores between them cover the entire tourist ecosystem in Fiji, from the airport through all the premium resorts. So we think a lot of people first learn about kava when they go on a family holiday to Fiji, and we want to be the most dominant and the most visible brand for those people throughout those tourist and retail channels in Fiji. And it's really important that when they make the decision to give kava a try as part of their lifestyle, they try Fiji kava in the resort or the airport, they come home to Australia or the US and they start to order online. Again, supporting our long-term vision for the highly profitable e-commerce channel to be the engine that drives the business. So do we have enough kava? Yes, the answer is we do. At the moment, we process around 3% of the kava that's produced in Fiji in any given year, and that's going to grow to about 6% over the coming horizon. There are about 10,000 kava growers in Fiji. In fact, 1 in 8 rural households grows kava. Between these farms, they produce around 4,500 tons of dry kava per year, the vast majority of which is still consumed locally in Fiji. We purchase fresh green kava at the farm gate, which is really unique. We process that in our proprietary way in our factory in Navua, which is just west of Suva. The funds that we're currently raising in the rights issue that's on foot will mean that we can upgrade our facility to process up to 25 tons per week. We currently process between 7 to 10 tons per week, and that's supporting our sales at the moment with a run rate of around about 7 million. So we'll be able to 2 to 3x our current sales from the facility we have in Navua with the upgrades that we're planning to make. And there's more than enough kava in the ground in Fiji, and we have excellent access to that kava to make sure that we can keep the supply meeting the demand as we grow it. Our sourcing locations are all across Fiji. All of the major farming provinces in Fiji have collection centres and sourcing locations for us. We bring all of that material back to the main island to our facility in Navua, where we process it from green kava to dry kava, or to our shots, or to the extract that goes into our capsules. So across those provinces and the places where we source from, we have access to around about 90% or more of the farmers in Fiji. So we're very confident that we have a sustainable, transparent, weather event proof supply chain that can continue to support the growth of the business that we're starting to see moving forward. And then last but not least, we're a company that's really committed to impact and doing the right thing for the farmers in the Pacific. Our founder, Zane Yoshida's vision was to build a business that was fair to farmers and that grew generational wealth for the people that grow the kava in the ground in Fiji. So we have one of the most fair trade and transparent supply chains in the entire industry. We work with a number of important organizations in Fiji to make sure that what we're doing is a best-in-class offering that really does give back. Primary among them is the Tutu Agricultural College. You can see in the photo there, our founder, Zane, at the Tutu Agricultural College. That's where we had just put in a large greenhouse there for the farmers that are learning at that college to be able to do what's called single node propagation. That means that they can clone the species that we think are the most beneficial and the highest value species at that single cutting level, and then propagate those plants out into farms all across Fiji through the agricultural college. It's a fantastic initiative that takes people from troubled backgrounds, teaches them how to farm over 3 years. The people in the Tutu College put themselves through the college by planting a large amount of kava in the ground. We think the graduate at the end of the 3 years has in the vicinity of $200,000 worth of kava in the ground at that time. And then the company has an agreement to offtake that kava from those graduates. We're also working on a program to be able to exchange those initial purchases for things like kit homes, solar units, and the kind of materials that people need to establish their own small business in their own community when they come out of the college and back into their regions around Fiji. So it's a win-win for us. We get farmers that know how to grow the kava that we need. We get a really great relationship with people all around Fiji from there, and the Tutu College produces really wonderful small business owning farmers who know how to grow it in the way that we want to see it grown. We also have a relationship through an MOU with the Aitauke Trust Fund Board. It's the peak organisation in Fiji for supporting Indigenous people. And we work with the Aitauke Trust Fund Board to have connections into communities all around Fiji. They help people to scale up those operations to be more commercial, and they also put groups of farmers in regions together into cooperatives that then get to a scale where we can purchase from them. So a really important way that we engage with the Indigenous people in Fiji and do the right thing to make sure we're not just sourcing from the big commercial farmers, but also from farmers all across the value chain, ranging from subsistence farming groups to semi-commercial and commercial farmers. We have a great relationship with BSP Life, who's a major investor in the company, and BSP Life often accompanies our sourcing officers out to farms where they help people to set up bank accounts and do the kind of things they need to transition from subsistence to more commercial farming operations. And BSP Life have been a great supporter of the company. And then I think importantly, we're now digitizing our supply chain with a company called Traceable Solutions. We've now mapped our entire supplier network with this proprietary application that we've developed with Traceable Solutions. It allows us to know exactly what kava is going into exactly what product, which is really important for quality assurance. But it also means that in the future, we're going to be able to let consumers identify exactly where the kava in their product was grown through that app, linking them back to a person or an area to see the kind of farmer that grew their kava, and eventually to let those people interact and connect by potentially helping out with projects that want to be done in those particular areas, drawing that link all the way from the consumer to the person who grew their kava. And we are the only company in the industry that has that farm all the way through to shelf integration of the business that lets us have that impact. And we think that's really important value adder and a really important competitive advantage for us moving forward, particularly in the US market. So that's what we do. It's a very simple business, really. We buy and process kava. We sell it through our great brands. We're e-commerce focused. We're inch wide, mile deep on the e-commerce strategy. We have a few retail channels which are profitable and which support driving customer trial for the products. And we give back to the farmers in Fiji in a really ethical way. And we pay a great price to those farmers because we don't have any middlemen in the business at all. We're completely vertically integrated from the farmer to the customer. So to meet our team, the chairman of our company is James Stack. James Stack is a very well-known person in Australia, chairman of the PCYC. James joined the company after we started to interact with him through the Kaiviti Silktails, where he's the #1 ticket holder and we were the sponsor. James is a person with a wonderful philanthropic view on the world, Order of Australia person, and a great chairman who's been with us for the last 2 years. Our founder, Zane Yoshida, started the business more than a decade ago and has put in a huge amount of work, particularly on the Fiji operations and supply chain, and is absolutely committed to the impact that we're having, as well as running a wonderful operation that we have in Fiji that's been able to scale up with us as we've grown really fast this year. Jim Tonkin, known as the beverage guru, a person who's brought to market more than 1,000 beverages in the US, probably most famously for the Zico coconut water business or the Arnold Palmer drink, also part of the team that brought Fiji water to Fiji originally, and a great resource for us in the US, particularly as we move towards more beverage and ready-to-drink formats. Griffin Amose, our non-executive director from Fiji, the managing director of Kentucky Capital. He's our eyes and ears on the ground in the financial and business community in Fiji, and has been a great enabler of us in those relationships. And our CFO, Pravinesh Lala, probably the person who's been most important in really helping us to turn the business around to make sure that absolutely everything we do is profitable. Prav's background is really strong. From Red Bull in Fiji, where the beverage industry knowledge has come from, to agricultural processing, all the way through to shipping and logistics in Fiji. Prav's got a wonderful network and has been a great asset for us. So bottom line, we've got a great product that people love. We're growing fast. We've got a fantastic team. We're ready to take things to the next level, and encourage everybody listening who's a shareholder to take up their rights in the rights issue, because it's probably the last time you're going to get a chance to invest at such a great price in the company. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anthony, for such a great presentation. And for those that have joined us late in the webinar, please feel free to submit your questions in the Q&A. We've had some pre-submitted already, so I'll get us started. But coincidentally, Anthony, I on the weekend was attending a wedding, and I met a Fijian man, and he brought up kava to me, and he says that in Fiji, everyone just drinks kava, and it is way stronger than the whiskey he was drinking that night. Can you attest to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So kava definitely plays the same role in Pacific Island communities as alcohol does in the West. So it's the way people relax on a Friday night. People sit down to the kava bowl while they watch the rugby. It's a great way to socialize, and it's a little bit different to alcohol in the effect. It's probably a little bit more of a tranquilizing, relaxing effect compared to the sort of intoxicating effect of alcohol and the balance disruptions that people have. But if you drink a lot of kava, it definitely gives you a nice strong buzz.
Okay, I'll have to try it then. So let's dive into the different brands first. So with Fiji Kava, the drinking powders and the capsules, is that taken on its own, or do you blend that with like another drink?
Yeah, so traditionally, in the way that Fijian people drink kava would be just to mix it with pure water in a ceremonial bowl, which is called a tanoa. So definitely some people drink that. And we have a traditional grind kava product specifically for that application, which is our big 1 kilo packet. The instant kava that we have has been formulated to a very fine micronized powder, which means you can just mix it straight into a glass of water. A lot of people add it to smoothies. You can add it to a protein shake at the end of a workout. A lot of people like to have it in a green juice, for example. So it's quite versatile. The taste of kava is very distinctive and earthy. So a lot of people, particularly if you haven't grown up with kava, do put something sweet with it, like a pineapple juice or something to help with the palatability. But you can mix it with virtually anything. I've heard of people mixing it with coffee too.
Okay. And so then the Taki Mai, I know that it's being sold in the local Fijian market as well as Coles in Australia. Will you be introducing it in the US?
Yeah, we will. So our Takimai is going to be our ready to drink brand for our ready to drink products. So the Takimai shot that we have in Australia is formulated with just pure kava, cold pressed kava, and some Fijian water and nothing else. That's due to the regulations in Australia that mean we can only present the product like that. In the US and in Fiji, we'll be launching Takimai shots with some flavors in there. So coconut flavored Takimai as a collaboration with Fiji Rugby, with a sponsor of Fiji Rugby, and they have a coconut tree as their symbol. So we'll do some coconut ones in Fiji Rugby livery coming up. We're also going to be doing some peach and some mango type flavors for the US in those shots, because we can formulate with those flavors there. So it'll look and feel very similar. The base will be the kava cold pressed juice, but we will flavor it and make it a little bit more yummy in America for the American consumers.
Okay. Are they flavored currently in Fiji and Australia?
In Australia, they're not flavored. In Australia, the current regulations don't allow us to mix anything else with the kava, so it has to be pure kava only in all of our products in Australia. We're also going to launch some flavor booster powders in Australia that will be a separate product that people can buy. So they'll buy, if you buy a 150-gram instant kava, you'll be able to pick up a small sachet of a flavor booster, which will have some of those fruit flavors that we've tested and we think are really complementary with the flavor of kava. So that will be an add-on product that people will have to take 2 spoons of kava and 1 spoon of flavor and mix it up like that in Australia. In the US, we can prepare those as pre-mixed products.
Okay, I see. Okay. And so what's the current revenue split between the Fiji Kava and Taki Mai brands?
Yeah, the vast majority of our revenue at the moment is still Fiji kava, instant kava powder. That's the main thing that we sell in Australia on Shopify. It's the main thing that we sell in the US and on Amazon and in the US Shopify.
Mhm.
We've only got the Takimai products operating now in the local domestic Fijian market, which is quite small, as well as just having launched those single shots in Coles. So they're going quite well in Coles. But what we'll be doing is we'll be offering a carton of the shots on e-commerce in Australia. That's going to be something like a 24 or a 30 pack of shots
Okay.
that people will be able to order online. And a lot of that's around the unit economics of shipping things through e-commerce. We won't be offering the single shot, but it won't be long until that's available in Australia. And we do expect those shots to actually really take on a lot of the future growth because they're easy to drink. It's ready to drink. It's just a bit more low barrier to give it a try.
Okay. And I know you mentioned that the business is trying to drive more towards e-commerce.
Mm.
Are you planning on ceasing retail markets completely?
No, we're not planning on ceasing retail markets completely, but we did definitely have some retail markets that we have exited.
Okay.
Probably primary among those is the Chemist Warehouse channel here in Australia. We couldn't make that channel profitable with the pricing and the discounting there, so we withdrew from that channel. But we've been continuing to work with Coles, and we've made that a profitable channel, and we're seeing really good growth there. And the tourist channel in Fiji is quite a high price channel, so we can charge a nice high price for the products there. So that's the other retail channel that we are going to prioritize. But we'll be looking at all the products that we sell around the world and all the channels for sales that we have over the next few months, and we'll be prioritizing our energy onto the most profitable channels for us, which is Shopify in Australia and the US. That's where we're getting really high margins and really high growth.
Okay. And so, how easily accessible is kava for Fijian locals? Are most of sales in that market from tourists?
No, vast majority of kava consumed in Fiji is by locals. So we think about 80 to 90% of the kava that's grown in Fiji is consumed by local people. It's the national drink of Fiji. It's very culturally important, and the same is true in the other Pacific Islands, Tonga, Samoa,
Mhm.
um, Vanuatu, for example. So kava is a hugely important part of those cultures, and always the vast majority of kava that's grown will be consumed in those local markets in the traditional way.
Right. Okay. And you mentioned that you've got a very weather event-proof production. Is kava grown across all seasons or is it seasonal?
Yeah, kava's a perennial plant, so it grows. It takes between 2 to 4 years for kava to be mature, to be harvested. So it takes many years to grow. It's quite difficult to grow. Uh, uh, Obviously, Fijian farmers are excellent at doing this, as they've been doing it for generations. So it does take a number of years to grow. It tends to grow on transitional land. There's a lot of kava in the ground. It's something that people grow alongside other things on their farms.
Okay. And so do you foresee the, growing trend and focus on health and well-being to be one of the biggest growth drivers of the business?
Yeah, we think that it is. So definitely, we know that stress, anxiety, and needing to wind down and sleep better is a huge problem for people all around the world. And we know that people are looking for ways to relax that don't include alcohol. So that no alcohol segment is, we think, really big. So the
Mm.
overall health as wealth kind of segment of consumers, we think kava fits really well with them. We think that's who's taking it up. We are not really building a business to Pacific Island diaspora. We are breaking into a new category. We're building a business with young, relatively affluent Western consumers who
Mhm.
are these health and sustainability consumers. That's where we're breaking that new market, which no one has before, and that's what's seeing the reason that we're seeing the growth that we have without really any slowdown is that we've got this major mass market channel that we've broken into.
Okay. Would you ever consider expanding beyond the US?
Look, we are really focused on the US. We think there's enough in the US to more than 10x the business where we are now. And from a regulatory perspective, it's very, very easy for us. The founder and I were just in Singapore and Hong Kong. So there are opportunities in China and Hong Kong that we're looking at. There are opportunities in Southeast Asia, in Thailand and Vietnam that are very interesting for us. But at the moment, we want to be laser focused on where we know we can get the highest ROI from what we're doing and the best growth from what we're doing. And that's the strategy we've got for e-commerce in Australia and the US. A couple of years from now, we hopefully will have a war chest that means we can access those other markets, but we're laser focused on our strategy right now.
Okay. And one more question from me before we go through audience submitted questions. How much is the development of the app costing, where you said that we can scan the QR code to find out where the product is from?
Yeah, so we worked with a great company called Traceable Solutions. They spell that with an S rather than a C, Traceable Solutions Fiji. They're a local Fijian entrepreneurial company, a husband and wife team, really smart, fantastic company. They've worked across all kinds of different industries in Fiji. The seafood industry, for example, is a place where traceability is super important. They've got a lot of experience there. So it was reasonably cost effective to work with them. We obviously have a little bit more work to do in the team to make sure we've got those individual farmer stories and links and that user experience really nice haven't launched that for consumers yet, but yeah, reasonably cost effective to work with that pretty cool young company from Fiji. So I'd definitely recommend Traceable Solutions to anyone else in Fiji that wants to build an app.
Okay. And so the primary purpose of the app is attracting customers?
No, the primary purpose of the app is for quality assurance and compliance. So it's a requirement. We operate at the FDA dietary supplement level. So almost all other kava companies operate at the general food level. We're probably the only company operating at that dietary supplement, more pharma grade level. So it's important for us to be able to demonstrate that we have control over our product and we know exactly where every product came from, right down to that thing. So if a product's on the shelf in a pharmacy or on the shelf with a customer in the US, we need to be able to 100% know where that came from. So it was mainly around quality assurance for us. And that traceability is a key part of quality assurance. But we see this opportunity because we think people are really interested to know where their kava came from. There's a kind of a bit of a story around kava. It's a bit like single origin coffee, where people feel that different regions produce different types of kava that might have different effects. So we think consumers are really interested in it, and the information's there, and that's why we want to put it to work as a marketing tool as well as a QA tool, which is what its primary purpose is.
And am I right in assuming that the competitive market in Australia and US is not very saturated right now?
Yeah, there's definitely a growing market. There's a lot of people selling kava in the US and in Australia, but we don't think there's anyone really at the level of professionality that we're at. Certainly no one that is building the kind of branded product business that we're building at the moment. So it's a little bit more fragmented other than what we're doing.
Okay. All right, we have a few submitted questions. So the first one is, should I buy and when should I sell?
Kava or the stock?
I assume they mean the stock.
Oh, you should buy as much as you can every day and never sell.
Yep. Okay. Can you provide a breakup on the marketing fees for the US and Australia over the past month?
Yeah, I can. So we invest around about $4,000 to $5,000 every day in marketing, and that's through Google and Meta. At the moment, the majority of that still is in Australia. The vast majority of that still is in Australia. So one of the wonderful things about the e-commerce model is that we can incrementally change our marketing spend about twice a week based on the level of return on advertising spend that we're getting and the cost of acquisition of those customers. And our team looks at that twice a week. So things scale up very slowly, but there's a lot of increments in it. So we're probably spending more than 80% of our marketing in the Australian market at the moment, probably about still only 20% in the US. But yeah, roughly that's the breakup. But as time goes by, the US side of things will scale faster. So we expect the US to go past Australia. But the great thing with the e-commerce model is that we can put $1 into the marketing funnel on Meta, and that can yield us $3 or $4 of sales that next day. And so that money's in our bank account before we ship the product. So the cash to cash cycle is really good, and we can effectively self-fund those marketing activities. And then as we scale them up, obviously if we see that the return on advertising spend isn't keeping up, we can taper back on that. So the team's really on top of that. But yeah, I'd say 80-20 Australia at the moment.
Yep. Okay. And then we've been asked, when do you envisage rollout of traceability on your product suite? I'm assuming that's relating to the app.
That's the app, yeah. So I think it's there. So it's already completely rolled out across the range from an internal management perspective. The consumer-facing interface, I would expect to be towards Christmas time this year. We should have that ready to go.
Okay. And that will be available in Australia and US?
It will. So it'll be available with all of our products. So this is an example of one of our products. You'll be able to take your batch number that's written on the product, you'll scan the QR code, which will take you to the app. You'll enter your batch number, and then that batch number will bring up the information about who grew your kava, when it was processed. And we're hoping to also have the ability for you to, for example, make a donation to that village group if they might be building a reading room or a school or a bus shelter or need a new water pump or something. So we're hoping to have that ability as well, so people can say, oh, look, my kava was grown by these guys in Kandavu. They're building a water pump. I'll send a couple of dollars down the chain to them. So it's a little bit of work to build that out, but we think it's going to be really great and build that connection between the consumer and the farmers. Yeah.
Okay, well, with that being said, thank you so much, Anthony, for joining me, and thank you for everyone that submitted questions. This will be uploaded to YouTube later today. But yeah, thank you so much for your time, Anthony.
Thank you very much.